Hello, I'm Chris Lane and I head up Transport Innovation for Transport for West Midlands in the UK. And today I'd like to talk to you about big data for connected and automated mobility over here in the UK. Just to give you a bit of background on the West Midlands Combined Authority, of which Transport for West Midlands are a part, we're all about driving inclusive economic growth in the West Midlands to enable people to have a healthier, happier, better connected and more prosperous life. We're right at the heart of the UK. 90% of the markets and ports are within 4 hours of our region. We're one of the first UK's test beds, and we contribute a significant amount to the GVA of the UK economy. When we think about big data, we need to think about the problem we're trying to solve. These two maps show you what the challenges that we face. On the left-hand side, we see single occupancy car usage, and on the right, we see people travelling by bus. And despite the West Midlands having the largest urban bus network in Europe, a lot of people are still travelling by car. In fact, 63% of people in the West Midlands made their journeys by car. We found actually, even if we have roadworks and we create disruption, a lot of people will continue to do the same thing. So a big part of the work we're doing with data is actually understanding people and understanding the factors that motivate them to make a change. We've all experienced the impact of COVID-19, and here in the West Midlands has been no different. The graph on the right-hand side is seen frequently here in the UK. It shows the significant decline that the pandemic caused to transport, not just public transport, but car usage as well. And the public are receiving very different messages at the moment, from using shared mobility to being isolated and separated. And these things create an environment of recession and having economic impacts, and that affects a number of our industrial sectors. But again, we've seen data playing a massive part throughout this process. You'll see here we had a daily COVID-19 dashboard, which did two things. It showed us the prevalence of the pandemic across the region, and it broke that down by our constituent authorities. There are 7 local authorities in the West Midlands. But we then took that and we linked that to traffic data and transport data. And it allowed us to see what was happening as a result of the pandemic, but it also helped us manage the response. We actually used the data to reveal new insights that we'd never seen before, to understand where our key staff, our hospital workers and emergency services, where they needed transport and perhaps where the current transport system didn't serve them well. There's been good and bad through the pandemic. Trip making was down, public transport was down, car usage as low as it was in here in the 1950s. But people have been working from home, they've been walking and cycling, and potentially in the long term, car use could be up on a local basis. And this has brought with it some positive effects. Carbon emissions have been down, air quality has been improved, noise has been reduced, there's been improved road safety, health benefits and physical activities have accrued to people in this situation. But what we found is that actually the most deprived areas are likely to bear the brunt of some of those disbenefits, receiving negative economic impacts and reducing their access and mobility. So what does Convex do? What does our data platform do? What does big data do to help us with these challenges? Well, Convex is bringing together world-leading mobility organisations who want to improve mobility. We want to make it safer. We want to make it cleaner. We want to make it better. But Convex is providing a commercial solution that's improving the ways we move by exposing, transforming and sharing that dynamic mobility information between a whole variety of organisations. We need integrated mobility solutions, so we need to see that data. We need to make sure that data is available in an open and equitable way. But actually some of these data sets have value and they should be generating an economic value. And we should create an environment where we can have long-term partnerships for organisations of any size, where they can rely on that data to power the mobility services of the future. Convex is providing two things. It's providing a range of services and a range of solutions. So let's have a look at data exchange services. At the heart, we're providing a neutral, open data catalogue and dynamic data exchange for data providers and consumers. And alongside that, tailoring those data services to power those new mobility solutions. For data providers, we want a marketplace where you can share and sell that dynamic data either openly or privately or to specific data consumers. Somewhere to advertise that data, to really make it understandable in terms of the metadata, where you're happy for it to be distributed, but also what's the licensing terms and pricing terms. And again, as I've said, you might want to share that very openly and freely, or you might want to be very selective. But you'll want to know how that data is used. You want to know whether your feeds are healthy. You want to track the revenues that we get from those data sets. And for the data consumers, is to have that license to consume that dynamic mobility data provided by others. Somewhere to browse what's available to meet your challenges and solutions. Who the data owner is, what are the APIs, what license terms do you need to abide to, and what are the prices. Somewhere you can actually look at the live content in real time. You can see multiple data sets. And there's help and assistance in how to use the APIs and integrate them with your own services and solutions. And the marketplace provides a lot of data sharing capabilities, from simple file stores to APIs and streams, but all of these being available through a common interface. And this is all creating services for the end-to-end data-driven solutions. So these complementary services provide custom data processing. Rarely do we find a data set that's exactly what you want. And this is an opportunity to clean, anonymize, harmonize, and standardize those data sets. You may wish to have a private data hub, a data hub that's just a ring fence to your organization or your service. You might want that data to support your mobility services. You might want several data sets, both public and private. And those mobility solutions could be in the private sector or in the public sector. The platform is very configurable, from a very light use to totally dedicated private use, so it can be configured to meet your specific need. But what about these scalable mobility solutions? We're going to have a quick look at some case studies, and these case studies are being realised and visualised through the Convex platform itself. So integrated transport network, this is my own organisation. We have a case study where we've created a playbook which brings together 23 dynamic data sets across 7 local authority areas. So regional authorities want to provide data, but a road user or a service provider doesn't want to collect data from several separate local authorities. They want one data source that harmonises that data and brings it together in one place. So this allows us to bring together the data on data flows, the traffic flows, the vehicles, parking, junctions, restrictions, messages, into a standard format that people can use. And the big strength here is providing a region-wide data set. So you can travel from one end of a region to the other, and it's the same data that's being used. We're seeing now a big rise in shared micro-mobility services. Here in the West Midlands, we have just started the launch of e-scooters, and we're starting to see how that goes and what the public think. The initial thoughts are they really enjoy using these scooters, and we're seeing a lot of that interest growing. But again, with some of these micro-mobility solutions, they come with challenges. Are people parking them in the right place? Are they using them in the right way? Are they allowed to use them? And again, the Convex, the data platform, brings together that big data on shared micro-mobility services. to understand people's mobility needs and their changing travel patterns. How are they disrupting other transport networks? And you can only do this if you put that data from those micromobility services alongside other data sets, such as traffic flows, such as public transport use. Are they being used safely? Are they obeying their regulations? What are the opportunities for the future? All these can be surfaced through these big data sets by bringing them together. So here, this case study shows that Ginger, who are one of the micromobility solution providers, have provided data into Convex, and that data can be used to understand how those scooters are going to be used. And again, that's a big benefit not just for the scooter provider, the service provider, but for public authorities and even road authorities. Cooperative ITS systems are really important, and we're really starting to see this become really essential to our road networks. Here in the West Midlands, we've created a connected and autonomous vehicle testbed called Midlands Future Mobility. It's a testbed that covers urban roads, motorways, rural roads, a large area across our region covering 4 of our traffic authorities. What Convex enables us to do is to think about the data that we have, not just from those connected services, from roadside units, from vehicle to infrastructure, but also what other data can be brought together. So you'll see here in the diagram what we call a scene. It's a specific geography, a small geography, that's showing you fixed information, speed limits, junction types, parking restrictions, but also the live information, traffic flows, maybe number of bikes, the weather, what messaging is going through. So that's bringing together all of those data sets into one place. And you can see there's the potential there to use these services to enable cooperative intelligent transport systems to improve the way we manage and use our networks. We're all looking forward to the day when we have fully connected and automated vehicle services. A case study here is looking at how we can use a vehicle and the sensors on that vehicle to feed back information to us dynamically. This is going to be essential when we have autonomous vehicles, where those vehicles need to be interacting with their environment. And this case study is proving out that that data is possible, that we're able to take the vehicle data, we're able to ingest that into the platform, and then we'll be able to share that for other purposes. And again, the big strength of this platform is that that allows those vehicle providers who are collecting that data and potentially commercializing that data, that allows their data to become available for use with other services. Here, we're looking at road surface condition and road safety, but you can see it can be used for potentially much more than that. So I'd like to thank you for your attention. I'm Chris Lane, Head of Transport Innovation at Transport West Midlands, and please take a look at our website, convex.uk.com. Thank you for your time.